is that patch on your finger called? I want to chew on it again, but I try not to. I want to chew on it so much it's already bleeding. Like I've taken it out on my finger. It's this patch beside the nail called, and surely it's called something. Maybe it doesn't need a name. Maybe there is no reason for it to have a name. Well, except when you've picked and torn with your teeth for so many days that, well, when you finally go into a pharmacist and say, I'd like some cream, you can say, I'd like some cream for this part, without actually having to show her, where you've almost taken your own flesh off the bone. I am aware the woman's watching me. Helen's back on the shore. I've walked around, I suppose. I suppose I must have walked around. I mean, I don't remember walking around, but Helen says I have a concussion, so everything's a bit... I look at the woman. She looks at me. I take a chair and I sit down. I mean, there is a chair. I don't see why I shouldn't sit down. There isn't a name for the part beside your nail on your finger, she says. Well, there should be, I say back, and I'm not surprised to hear her voice. Her voice is exactly as I thought. Maybe, she says, maybe there should be a name for it, but there isn't. You're not copying me now, are you, I say. She looks at me, shrugs. She goes and gets a chair and turns it the right way up. You bother me. You really bother me, I say to her. What do you want? She says, I mean, I want to know what you're doing here. I want to know how you got here. And before you say, I live here or I belong here, any of that, you don't. You don't belong here. I remember where I've seen you. I may have temporarily, I may have for a second forgotten, and well, I may be pretending to Helen, but it was at the end of my garden. I saw you at the end of my garden. You turned up in a storm. Don't look at me like that. She looks at me, well, she looks at me like she doesn't know what I'm saying, which is rot, because of course she does. She knows every word. You came with a sleeping bag. You came with a bloody sleeping bag. Well, and you don't see as many women sleeping rough, so... And well, you worry, don't you? So, of course, I said, of course you can stay in my garage, or wherever you want, of course. I've never seen you before, she says. What? We never met? Is everyone crazy? Is everyone crazy around here? Is that the thing? I mean, I know I might have a concussion, but there's some things I still know, and I know I saw you. She shrugs, and it's important to say this to her. You turned up at the end of my garden, our garden. Only the garden that became mine. You turned up in a bad storm, and I knew, I'd seen you before, and I said to Helen, I said, Helen, there's a person, a woman. I mean, I didn't say there's a woman I've seen before. I didn't say there's a woman that scares me a bit. No. Bothers me. There's a woman who came into my life after you went. There's a woman who said I could make a wish. Can you actually look at me when we're talking? My whole life's falling apart. I mean, I don't know where I'm supposed to be, but if I'm supposed to be here, I don't want to go crazy. Is this a kind of taunting? A kind of ridiculing me with this Helen alive or dead? A kind of punishment for my grief? No. No, I said I saw you to the man I talked to. Well, he's not really a... Well, I guess he is a kind of counsellor. I'm not sleeping, so I see a counsellor. And this woman, I told him, the first day I saw him, there's a woman with a sleeping bag, and she came and slept in my garage a few nights, and well, she scared me a bit because she said she'd give me a wish. And he said, the counsellor said, sounds like someone from a book. The old woman in the sleeping bag sounds like a character, an archetype, and he knows I write about books, so I said, yeah, okay, but this was real. And in the morning he said, when you went out to the garage, was she there? And when I said no, he said it was a dream. You saw a woman that scared you, a kind of a shadow, your shadow. You saw what scared you in yourself, like if I fell through the gaps and never got over this. If I never got over this like everyone says I should, or if I kind of fell to pieces and never found the way back, then maybe I'd be wandering with my sleeping bag. That's what he said. You're scared of becoming that woman, that's all. She's a scary figure, a gremlin, someone to not become. And I said, well, in this dream, if it was a dream, when the woman came with her sleeping bag, she said she'd give me a wish. And I wanted that wish. I wanted that wish so badly. More symbols from a story, he said. I wish I'd never told him about the bloody books. I would reorganise the universe, and to hell with the consequences to have that wish, I said. I live here, she goes, on this island. Yeah, but this place doesn't exist, does it? Of course you live here, like you slept in my garage a few nights. The second night I brought you out some bread, so what I really came to say is this the wish? Because if it is, it's cruel. It's a joke, it's horrible, and I don't want it. I don't want this wish. Take it back. I want to go home, Helen. I don't trust anything here. I mean, if this is concussion, I don't like it. I don't believe it, that's the problem. I don't believe that the ground is actually here, the sun is shining. You didn't make it. That's all I can think. Oh, and I know it sounds awful, and believe me, it's been awful, but I know you didn't make it because these last few months have been horrible. And okay, I hit my head And maybe you will say I'm the totally fucking insane one here, but when we went out on the boat, you didn't want to. It was my fault. I can remember all at first, but little by little, the condolences cards, the people smiling at me from across the street, and that hideous memorial, and all of the nights that I would have done anything. This is fucked up. Yes, this is fucked up. Yes, do you think that you just dying wasn't fucked up? Do you think that you just walking out of here, ceasing to exist, do you think that wasn't utterly and totally against the laws of how things should have been? And do you think I haven't asked a few times, how the fuck could you do that? No, you listen to me. Do you think I haven't asked? Raged Helen. Why the fuck couldn't you swim? I mean, you don't go out on a boat if you can't swim. You definitely don't fuck about over the side. It wasn't an accident, Ellen. You were mucking about. I survived. And you know what? You left life in a total mess. There is no calm order that you left behind. You totally and utterly corrupt on me. No will. No bank details, and where the fuck have you left the key to your desk drawer? I mean, you could start by telling me that. But of course you can, of course you can. You can organise yourself when you're alive. And maybe my experiences were extreme. Maybe I was worried about things a bit too much, but at least I got everything done. I have a will. I know my bank details, I have a file. I mean, if I was the one... I didn't even know your mother's number. In the hospital. Oh, do you think you should call her parents? Yeah, probably. Where the fuck's their number? It should have been on the wall, and it wasn't on the wall. Of course it should have been on the wall. That's where we kept other numbers, but it wasn't on the wall because it was to do with you. It was to do with you, and therefore, it isn't easy. It isn't possible for anyone else because all you ever thought about was yourself. And hence, you died. Oh, you died because you didn't fight hard enough, Helen, and I will never forgive you. You should have fought and swum and got your head out of that motor and told your liver not to pack it in and bloody lived. You should have bloody lived. I'm sorry. But that's what I think. The day you died, I was so angry. And don't think it's just me. I mean, we're all pissed off with you. Your mother, your brother is on antidepressants. Your father hardly gets out, but it's me, if you want to know, the one they're all worried about. I think I'm fine. They don't. A woman comes to the bottom of the garden. Our garden. The garden has become mine. It's become only mine. Our garden, but it is mine now in a way I don't want. Anyway, a woman's come with her pathetic looking sleeping bag and it's really fucking raining. And I know it's bad. And she's probably homeless and I'm worried about her. Oh, which I realise is a new thought. A thought that for once isn't about my fucking pain. I mean, yes, Helen died, but I can think about another person. I shouldn't do it, but I say, yes, okay, you can sleep in the garage. Only the garage. Of course I shouldn't have fucking done it. Of course, yeah, you can sleep in the garage. And the next day, I bring her out some bread and some tea, and she says, would you like a fucking wish? And I fucking say, yes, Helen, and okay, I fuck it up, but you know what? I never thought it would happen. It can't happen. You can't get a day back. I mean, it's impossible as you're going in the first place. There's a strange place called grief, where all the rules are changed. So I made a wish. I fucking made a wish. You're in a grave. Your mother wanted the grave. I said I thought you wouldn't mind. Do you mind? It's in our village. I don't go there much. I should go there more, but to be honest, I find your mother... She asks me, what the hell were we doing out in a boat? And I find I don't have an answer. We were mucking about, I suppose. We were treating life far too trivially, and we got caught. We didn't know that you're not supposed to do anything, that you're supposed to stay inside and hang on to each other. That's what we should have done. Stayed under our duvet, held on to each other, and never gone out.